this song.
We are live on Social Surge. Just waiting for the gram to pull up so I can click go live.
Go live. Go live.
Live. Woohoo! We are live on the gram. I am Mo Regalado.
I'm Fly Jamerson. Wait,
what was that?
I said I'm Fly Jamerson. You always introduce yourself and I don't do that.
Well, because I introduced you. So you just stole my thunder. You stole my thunder.
The Thunderdome. I'm watching your live too. Hey, you want to hear something great that I just realized?
What?
This is our 50th episode of Social Surge.
What? No freaking way.
It's the counter in StreamYard is correct. This is our 50th.
Holy Hannah.
I don't know that, which is, I think, okay, so like a really common thing in any content series or like streaming endeavor or podcasting or like whatever that is, right? Like it is very common. And I have also like done this twice to like do 3 or 4 episodes and then it just tanks.
Right.
It's hard to keep it up.
It's hard to abso-fucking-lutely. Whoops. Sorry, people. Hey. Welcome to Tuesday. Regalado Real Estate's joining us on the gram. Hi, babe. I'm already dropping F-bombs. It's fine. It's Tuesday. All right. So yes, no, most people who start a podcast do not get past episode 7. So that's actually kind of one of the things that I really appreciate about the fact that we've been so consistent on here is well, obviously that we have shown up like every single time, except for I'm going to say the week of September 10th through the 12th, we are not going to be here. Not going to be here. I wonder if we should do, so technically in StreamYard, we can pre-record stuff. So we could record it and then
you're 10 steps ahead of me. Well, okay. Well, yeah. And I mean like 6 a.m. on Thursday morning. Yeah, I'm going to be doing my hair. I don't know. Because where will we be?
I'll be in my hotel room.
No, but where are we going to be?
Oh, we're going to be at a CREI Summit.
I know. It's in a number of days.
15.
15, thank you. Yeah, I counted on Sunday when I sent out a bunch of emails and the emails are flowing.
Yes, emails are flying and things are happening with CREI Summit. I believe today or tomorrow is the last day that you can purchase tickets. So
and the hotel block is ending too. So there's been some last minute things flying around there. So
yeah, so if you want to join us at CREI Summit, which is the place for all of the cool cats to go hang out and learn marketing, I am actually really excited to hear what Google has to say on Friday, because that is AI and Google is such an important part of what we're doing for marketing. And not just that, but I was actually just watching a reel of one of the real estate agents that she's real estate, not commercial real estate. So she does real estate in Texas. And I've talked about her before. Her, I think her handle is Move Me to Text, TX. I think that's what it is. Okay. I've talked about her before because her whole, like, part of her content shtick is she is a big fan of Nike dunks. And so she'll like go and find like all these like really cool shoes. And then she does unboxing videos with them. So it has nothing to do with real estate. It's her personality, something that she likes, right? And she shares that on social. But she just did a talk where she was specifically talking about using AI and creating content that is searchable by the answer engines. And you and I have talked about this. This is going way off topic of what we were planning on talking about today, but it goes along with CREI Summit. And I think that if real estate is doing this, then commercial real estate needs to do it as well. Just because commercial real estate is so far behind what residential real estate does on social and on the interwebs, that you should be paying attention to what some of these people are saying about what they're doing, because then you should be implementing some of those practices as well. So that got off a little bit off topic, but CREISummit.com. We would love
I don't know.
Love to have you there.
There's justification for all of it. Yeah.
And so we actually do have, we were like, what are we going to talk about? We're like, I don't know. What's going to happen? I'm like, oh, I know, Cracker Barrel. Everybody's heard about it, seen it. And so we really wanted to dive deep into what has gone wrong with Cracker Barrel, their logo rebrand, how they've responded to the crisis, and actual real-time stuff that we saw play out on X with people that we are, that we know, maybe we haven't met personally, but we know of them on X. And Fly actually was sharing that with me this morning. So why don't you go ahead and jump in and talk about it?
Yeah. Okay. So if you missed it, and how could you, but just in case you did. So Cracker Barrel rolled out a new logo recently. And along with that, a kind of total rebrand and look of the store and like direction of the menu and like all this stuff. And also I think we've got, well, Dwayne was on my Instagram. I don't know where he is now, but good morning. Good morning to the Graham fam on all channels. So, and the new logo has taken out some legacy elements, some traditional elements, and really seems to have missed the mark with what the brand means to their audience. But what Mo is referring to in terms of like, look, this isn't theoretical. Like you see these things happen all the time with like new logos or like all the, all this stuff, and it is happening on kind of such a high level. But so what happened is after this rolled out, Tyler Bindi, who is with Marcus and Millichap, and who does, like specializes in retail and triple net lease, right? Triple net Tyler. So according to his ex, after Cracker Barrel rolled out the new designs for the restaurants and the new logos and everything, he's selling a Cracker Barrel. And after all that rolled out, according to Tyler, the buyer called him and said, cancel the deal.
Yeah. According to the tweet that he posted, the buyer sent him a tweet from another account having nothing to do with him and was like, I'm out. Deuces. See you later. And so this is having real-time effects to people that we know in the industry and also to the shareholders because they are facing like $100 million, they lost $100 million in value. That's huge. It's huge. So and first let me talk about the logo and just how ugly it is. Okay. Like it looks like somebody did it in Canva. Not that I don't love Canva. I do love Canva, but the new logo looks like somebody just put like a medallion in there and then just put the Cracker Barrel on there. It was like no thought. It's so bad.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like I'm not a consumer of that brand. I mean, I think I've been to a Cracker Barrel like 2 or 3 times. It's not like I don't have a lot of nostalgia for it or connection for it. And so, I on a purely objective level, I don't mind the new logo as much, but it takes out, it's stripped it of a lot of history, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So the guy, Uncle Herschel, who was on there, was an actual person that used to show up at the original Cracker Barrel and he's obviously he's iconic, right? So they completely get rid of that. They got rid of the barrel. They got rid of Old Country Store. It is, I would say it is very generic and doesn't play into the history or give pay homage to the actual brand itself. Now, I brought this up yesterday on Cup of Joe with Corey and Mo, and this seems to me like so in 2017, I don't know how many people will remember this, but in 2017, there was a viral Facebook post from a guy named Brad, whose wife got fired from Cracker Barrel after 11 years of service. And the whole thing blew up on the internet. And it was like, why did Cracker Barrel fire Brad's wife? Right? It was hilarious. It's awful. The woman got fired, but it's hilarious that this one guy's Facebook post goes viral. And it's like justice for Brad's wife, bring Brad's wife back. Like she became a thing. Now, I talked about this in 2017 about the fact that Cracker Barrel did not do anything to address the bad PR. They never once, like, if I remember correctly, this was actually on Cracker Barrel's Facebook page. So like the guy like posted there, which is why it went as viral as it did. But they never once addressed it. Never once did they get on there and say anything. Yeah.
They've also I wouldn't say that they've apologized about this. Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Jeff. And Dwayne's back on LinkedIn. I wouldn't say that Cracker Barrel people have apologized about this particular situation, but they did this sort of like corporate non-apology of like,
apology. Yep.
We won't always get it right, and we missed the mark, and like whatever, right? And so it seems like potentially they're reevaluating. But like they didn't acknowledge that they had a double-digit drop in their stock prices. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, but they really they missed it. You know what I mean? They really messed up. And it wasn't just the logo. It wasn't just the logo. It was the entire interior of the store, and a lot of things with the menu. And so what's been really interesting, and this is where you see sort of like the power of social media popping off, right? I have seen numerous tweets from people being like, if I was the CEO of Cracker Barrel, this is what I would have done. And every single tweet is a brilliant marketing strategy that is totally representative of the people that they're trying to reach. And so like a huge misstep, and and the other thing that happened was that this happened very abruptly. There was no sort of warning to people that this was coming. And I understand that a lot of times these things need to happen internally and get approved and get rolled out, but it's very clear to me, based on the abruptness of the reveal, the backlash, and then like the numerous people who are having a lot of exposure and visibility and reach on X sharing what they would have done instead, is that here is a situation in where a brand is complete, or whoever's leading the brand is completely out of touch with their audience.
Correct. Yeah. If you don't understand who your core audience is, like one of my favorite things to do at Cracker Barrel is not to eat the food. I love the general store. Like my favorite thing is to walk around the general store and see what new shit that they have in there, right? Like it's kitschy, it's country, it's whatever. But you go in there and it smells delicious, first of all. Generally, most of them do. In those general stores, they smell like cinnamon, and you know what I mean? Like it just smells good in there. And so to kind of take away the soul of the brand, which is you're expecting to see, all of the paraphernalia on the walls. Now, going to the paraphernalia on the walls, I was reading some comments and some stories that back in the day, they actually had buyers that would go scour for local antiques when they would go open up a Cracker Barrel, so they could actually pull stuff from the local community to put up on the walls. Like that is friggin' brilliant, right? Like that foresight to say, hey, if we want this to be successful, we need to be a part of the community. So we're going to go take those community pieces and throw them up so that people can see them and go like, oh, hey, yeah, I recognize that. Or I remember seeing that as a kid, or whatever it is. And they had it in their stores, which makes it so much more personal. So now when you look at the pictures of what this rebrand looks like, it friggin' looks like Martha Stewart cottagecore, right? Like you went to Pottery Barn.
It's not even that. That would be a step above what it is now. No, I'm serious. It looks very clinical. It looks very sterile. It looks like everything. You want to know what? It could be a Kava. It could be, I would say, even Panera. Like, why am I bringing up Panera as like better than, you know what I mean? But so much of what we talk about in personal branding for CRE professionals is really reliant on personality, and that being the main differentiator between why someone is going to work with you versus somebody else. And so throughout the interior designs, I haven't really taken a close look at what they're talking about, the new menu, but like the interior designs, the logo, and the other changes they've made to the experience is that they've completely divorced the new experience from what people have come to know and love. Now it's like, look, are they trying to address, trying to bring in a new audience, new consumers? Like, sure, maybe, but like, going and looking like everybody else instead of doubling down what you already know works. You know what I mean? It's like creating a space for people to have comfort, have that nostalgia, have familiarity. Like there's I feel like they just got pulled down the wrong path, you know, and I think we'll be probably hearing about this for a while because the massive fallout from this is an incredible case study, right?
Yes.
And so, you know, but like to me, as a case study for right now, it's just like when you are venturing out on your own, you know, identification of who you are and what you value and the people that you work with and how you like communicate that through a brand. Like for me, the logo is not the place to start.
Right.
People put so much and like this is a situation in which people had a lot of affinity towards the logo, right? But when I see people starting to figure out how they're going to define their personal brands or their businesses, you know, in their materials and their marketing assets online, to me, the logo is the last thing that you should worry about because that is not the experience. That is the symbol, right? And so you can have symbols all day long, right? And if they had changed nothing else besides the logo, maybe there would be a lot less backlash around this, right? But like for me, that's just the tip of the iceberg because they gutted it completely. And so when I see like one of the first questions I hear a lot from people who are trying to establish their brand identity is like, what's the logo going to be? Like to me, like that is the end all be all of like how I'm going to be represented and perceived. I see so many freaking logos. I look at so many freaking websites, like and like to me, it is the most forgettable thing, right? Because it may be the stamp of like recognition once you're established, but if it's hollow and there's nothing supporting it and there's no experience of you, like it's just another logo in my feed. I don't know.
No, that's exactly it. So when we're talking about branding and we're talking about, you know, how do you establish that brand, the first thing that you have to establish is your value proposition. That's honestly the first thing. Forget the freaking colors, forget the fonts, forget the logo. What is your value proposition that then is going to be supported by the colors, by the fonts, by the logo? If you don't understand what your value prop is, if you don't understand who your target audience is and who you're trying to reach, it doesn't matter what your freaking logo looks like. I was working with somebody and they wanted their logo to be a certain way. And I'm like, okay, but you don't work in the mountains. You don't live in a mountainous state. And I understand what you're trying to say, but you live on the beach, right? Like your business is on the beach, not in the mountains. So if people are looking at mountains, they're thinking mountains, okay, like, you know, whatever that means to them. I understood he was trying to say like pinnacle, like he's the top, but your logo doesn't represent what you actually do. Like there was a disconnect. It didn't make sense. If you have to explain what your logo means, there's an issue. That there's a disconnect. Like people should be able to look at them and be like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it, right? It supports what this person is doing. So yeah, I mean, it's very interesting that they took away the nostalgia, they took away the history, and then they expected people to just kind of like be like, oh, okay. I don't think they were expecting. So this is also, I keep saying the word disconnect. This is the disconnect between upper management and actually listening to what's happening in the restaurants and actually what's happening with the customers. Because I'm quite sure that if they had done a test group, if they had done a focus group, if they had done any kind of study, they would have found that their core audience would not have approved of this. Like, it boggles my mind that they did. I'm sure they did a focus group.
I'm sure they did. That's what I'm going to say. And I'm sure they did, but it's like
where the freak did they do the focus group? Did they do the focus group like in like a city that people were like, oh yeah, that looks really cool? Was it like your target demographic, right? Or your demographic that comes to your stores is anywhere between the ages of 40 and 80. I don't know if that's their demographic, but when you've ever been to Cracker Barrel, that's generally that's like the age of the people that are in there. And so like that demographic, they want the comfort, right? And it's comforting to go to a place that has always looked the same, right? You get the same food, you get the same quality of service, it's the same price. Like, they want comfort. They don't want sleek and modern. That's not what they're looking for. And that's honestly what Cracker Barrel does not represent. So I can understand them wanting to do a rebrand and be like, hey, we need to get with the times, yada, yada, yada. But they forgot to listen to their core audience. And I'm going off on a rant here, but it's the same thing that happened with Harley Davidson in like 2017, 2018. They were so interested in trying to get the Gen Z buyers and the millennial buyers. They completely missed out on Gen X, failed to even recognize that they existed. Not a big surprise, that normally happens. And they forgot their core audience of boomers, who are the people that can freaking afford the motorcycles, right? Like, I had mass conversations with the Harley dealership, and they were like, oh, we need to bring in a barber. And I'm like, what the frick are you going to bring a barber in for? Well, yeah, because everybody wants these cool haircuts, and like, we can have a barber in here and it'd be super cool. What the frick does that have to do with selling freaking motorcycles? Like, and this is going to probably piss some people off, but girls with big boobs and tiny shorts, right? Like, selling bikes is what freaking sells bikes.
Yeah. I mean, look, no, that's it. And like, what, yes, it's interesting. I want to bring up this comment that from Dwayne. Look, I'm not saying the logo is not important. Like, clearly it is, right? Because we have all this backlash. What I'm saying is that when you are trying to configure and identify and shape like your entire marketing ecosystem and how you represent yourself and show up in the world, to me, that is not the place to start. Because unless you are in conversation with your target audience, with your investors. I mean, that is a great example. Like, I would need to go back and look at specific footage from Shark Tank or The Apprentice or like what you're referencing, Dwayne, but like, they are in conversation with the people who are trying to invest in them, right? And so that makes sense to me that like people would get lambasted on that. But like, for me, the misstep that I see, both here and in other people who are building their personal brands online for their businesses in commercial real estate is that without clarity about who you're trying to reach, what your message is, what the experience of what you're working with is, the logo doesn't matter. And again, like, it doesn't matter because how many logos do we have in this space, right? And you're not picking CBRE versus JLL versus Colliers versus Cushman because of the logo,
right?
You're choosing them because, and I'm not yelling at you, Dwayne, I'm just getting fired up. Like, I'm just like, you know what I mean? But it's just like, now those logos have come to mean something, right? Because the people and the relationships and the processes and the results that have come to stand up the logo, right? But but it's just,
and I do want to say something for what Dwayne was saying. So when we're looking at it from the perspective of The Apprentice or Shark Tank, right? These are packaged, finished products that the logo should represent the brand, which is what I was talking about. It should represent. So if you're selling, and the reason I'm bringing up Dude Wipes is because Dude Wipes made a parody of the Cracker Barrel thing, which made me laugh, and I had to tag Zach Molzer in there. But yeah, no, it was great. But like, if you're selling butt wipes and you have a picture of, I don't know, a heart, maybe, but not like, I don't know, a butt, right? Like, I mean, that's, like a logo of a butt cheeks or whatever. I don't know, but it should represent some way, right? There shouldn't be a disconnect where you're like, why did you choose a cat? I'm not understanding why the cat, well, we thought it was cute.
Okay. God, kill me with the cuteness. No, I mean, like, look, I'm all for dropping a dog and cat photo in here to get some visibility, right? But it's like, doing things because they're cute or clever or funny is not how you win business. It's just not it at all. Like, in the past, I've worked with brands who were trying to, like, augment and elevate their experience for their clients. And like one of the things was like, yeah, we're going to send a rubber duck. And I'm like, why? Why are you going to give them this like why are you going to give them this token that is in no way like that? It's like, sorry, my mind just went so many places.
What is the thought process behind, like, okay, so I can understand
that it was cute, that it was funny, that it was like going to put a smile on somebody's face, which are all important things, but like not at all interconnected at all or representative of the brand. And like, why are you going to dump a bunch of money in something that somebody's going to throw away for real? Like when people talk about, oh, I'm going to have, like, I have all this cool branded merch. I'm like, why are you going to dump a bunch of money into something that adds no value and it is not related to who you are, and that person is probably going to throw away, 5 seconds to 5 minutes after, or unless you hand it to your kid and then you throw it away 5 months later, like me, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know. So
no, so with going to the rubber duck thing, that immediately made me think of Jeep, right? So Jeep has the ducks. So if you drive a Jeep, you get ducked, and somebody will put a duck on your car, and then you'll see a bunch of Jeep.
Oh, yeah.
Now you see a bunch of Jeep drivers that have all these ducks in their dashboard and on their dash.
It's representative of the culture, right?
Right.
And so when we talk about, again, like this is what happened with Cracker Barrel, everything that they rolled out is not representative of the culture. It's not even a next like logical evolution of the culture, right? And all of the suggestions that people were making in terms of how they could, if they're trying to bring in new business and they're trying to better reach their customers, there's so many more other things that their people were resonating with in terms of like the culture of what it meant to go to a restaurant as a family on like, a Friday night or something, right? What would it mean if we, how could we better enrich the experience with the kind of life that people desperately want to get back to in America, for specifically for the values and the legacy and the ideals and the culture that specific audience base is really, really passionate about, right? And so again, like when we talk about content marketing and we talk about the digital representation of yourself and how you're putting things out there to better connect with people, if your content, if your messaging, if all of that stuff doesn't reflect what you value and the values of the people that you're trying to reach, like it's going to miss the mark. It's going to miss the mark. And I'm sorry, like, and I know I'm going pretty hard on this, but it's like the logo to me is like not really even a part of that ecosystem at all.
Right. That's, it's the logo should be the last thing that you worry about. I think if Cracker Barrel were to have followed simple steps of like one, changing the menu, quietly changing the menu, right?
That was the other thing. They did everything all at once, right? It was like boom, boom, boom. No breathing room.
So like focus groups, change the menu, and then start quietly changing the decor, and then change the logo and explain it. I think there's a certain level of arrogance and I don't know who the CEO is. I've seen her on TV now. But the level of like, here comes that word again, disconnect that she had with her core audience.
Yeah.
It's just like, have you ever eaten at one of your restaurants?
Bro, if you have to ask that question to the CEO, that's a problem.
Right?
And so, and here's also something to sort of lock this or ground this in, some things that I see happening in CRE right now. A lot of people, I know a lot of people personally who are making some moves.
Right.
And, really, and really considering where and why and how they're going to make those moves, right? Whether it's, whether it's to a different brokerage or, like whatever's going on, right? They're thinking a lot about how these different firms align with their own personal representations of themselves, right? And it's something to really consider. But one thing I will say is that, so for example, I can't remember who C. John Armstead was with before he moved to CBRE, but
he was with Tortoise Realty.
Thank you. So he recently this year, I think earlier in this year, made the move to CBRE. Like nothing about the way he works in my mind has changed based on his content. He's completely retained himself and shows up in the same way, has the same values, has the same systems, and is probably, has a different level of support that I hope is working for him, right? I owe him a call. But to me, he's built his personal brand to be bulletproof, that in such a way that, now that he's made that move, like it's still supported in there. I mean, look at me. I've been like, I don't really like to talk about this very much, but like first I was with a local brokerage, then I was with a national QI, and now I'm with you. And that all happened within the last 18 months. Right. But
our core connection and what we want to do and the vision we have aligns. Right. Yeah. And the way I look at it is like, I want you to be able to grow into what you do best to serve our clients best versus trying to, sorry, no, you're good. No, it's just versus trying to, it's how I feel like about what I do versus what the heck does. Right. Because I know that what the heck is going to take care of all the stuff that I don't want to do, right?
When I was in a band, I used to have all these like little like hand signal dances for my songs that the audiences would do. So that's why I'm like this. I'm sorry.
You're good. I think knowing what you're good at and then capitalizing on that is fantastic. There's shit I hate doing. I don't want to do it. I don't want to learn how to do it. Thankfully, what the heck is like, oh, that's in my wheelhouse. I'm good. I can do that. Right. So it's knowing what our strengths and weaknesses are. And it's also building that brand based on those strengths and bringing people in to help supplement the weaknesses. They're not weaknesses. It's just, I have no interest in learning how to do automations. What the heck loves that? Like, that's all him. Like schematics, all that crap. He's all into that. Me, I'm like, I want point A to go to point B. Can you make that happen? And he's like, yep, I can. I'm like, okay, cool. I don't need to know what's in the soup to eat the soup. I just want the soup. Right. So we're running on time.
I want to bring up this quote this line from Dwayne. And this is really interesting. Two, also just like for the fact of like, I don't feel anything when I look at the Pepsi logo. But I feel something when I see the Coca-Cola logo, right? And again, like this is another, you look, if you are thinking about the way that you're showing up online and your identity and what people associate with you and how, like the most important thing for me would be extremely clear about why do people work with you? Why do people already do business with you? And what are the essential like components of that make you desirable, and like isolate those, identify those, and like double down on those completely, right? And if those are razor sharp, if you yourself as a product are incredibly defined and clear, like with what you said in their value, like you can go through all kinds of brand evolutions if you don't completely gut and divorce yourself from like who you really are.
Right. I think what we can learn from this whole debacle with Cracker Barrel is the fact that if you are choosing, and so this is how we can make this work for commercial real estate. If you're choosing to rebrand, it's a trust reset.
Yeah.
Right. It's not just the colors. It's not just the fonts. It's not just the logo. It's a trust reset. And to do that, you should be doing storytelling and intentional storytelling to get that new idea across. If you are not, and this again, where Cracker Barrel missed it huge, they did not tell the story as to why they were choosing to do this. And more than likely, it's because they didn't feel like they had to. There's that arrogance, right? That ego. Well, I don't have to. If you've built a brand of raving brand ambassadors, of raving fans, the worst thing that you can do is not address how you're planning on making changes. It is going to kill your brand And especially in this age of social where things catch on like wildfire, they go viral very, very quickly.
Pour one out for anybody on the social team at Cracker Barrel. Like, we go buy that girl a drink. I don't know.
So I'm
assuming it's a girl.
I'm going to leave with this. I worked for a brand. I've talked about them before. And when I left them after I got fired, they were in a very, very good position. Within about a month to 2 months, the new social media manager killed the brand for one thing that she said. Then she lied about it. Then the CEO made a statement where he backed her lie. Then he went back and took back what he said and did a non-apology apology. It tanked the shit out of the brand. Bad. Really, really bad. And all I could do was watch it go up in flames because that person that they hired did not understand the culture or the core audience of who they were serving. So if you're going to do a rebrand, think about how you're going to rebuild trust with your audience and be there to tell the story. If your brand is based on you personally and your brand is about your personality, that trust is not going to take like talking about CJ going from one company to the next. Okay, cool. I'm still going to follow his content because I love his content. I don't care what company he's with, right? So think about those things as you potentially do a rebrand. Make sure that you're building trust with your community. And of course, talk to us before you do that because we'll give you the real story.
We won't. Yeah, we're not going to sugarcoat it.
No, we won't sugarcoat it.
As you can tell.
Everybody have a good day. We will see you back here on Thursday. Same bat time, same bat channel. And of course, if you need any help with marketing, join us at Social Mastery VIP. That is our school group where we take you through the whole marketing ecosystem. We will see you back here. Bye.